Welcome to Biochemistry. Today, we are going to explore a fascinating logistical challenge that happens inside almost every cell in your body. We will uncover the mitochondrial shuttle system. Imagine your cell as a highly efficient factory. We will see how this factory manages to transport its most valuable energy resources across heavily guarded, impermeable barriers to keep you alive and functioning. To understand why we need a shuttle, let us first step onto the factory floor of a living cell, known as the cytosol. During a process called glycolysis, your cellular workers are busy breaking down glucose. This process produces a very valuable, fully charged battery known as NADH. This molecule carries high-energy electrons that are absolutely essential for generating the bulk of the cell's power. However, the machinery that actually extracts the power from this battery is not located on the main factory floor. It is locked away inside a highly secure vault. Now that we have this valuable NADH battery, we run into a major logistical problem. The machinery that uses these electrons is the electron transport chain, which is located inside the mitochondrial matrix. You can think of the inner mitochondrial membrane as heavy steel doors guarding this vault. The critical issue is that these doors are completely impermeable to the NADH battery itself. There are no transport proteins available to carry it across. If the battery cannot get inside, the energy is trapped, and the cell cannot generate the power it needs to survive. Since the battery itself cannot pass through the doors, the cell uses a brilliant workaround known as a shuttle system. Instead of trying to force the bulky NADH molecule through the membrane, a series of cytosolic enzymes acts like a messenger. This messenger takes only the charge, or the high-energy electrons, from the NADH battery. It transfers these electrons onto a smaller intermediate molecule that can easily slip through the membrane. Once inside the mitochondrial matrix, enzymes extract these electrons and attach them to a brand new resident electron carrier, effectively regenerating the signal. This elegant workaround does much more than just generate power. It keeps the entire factory running. Understanding this is absolutely critical. When cytosolic NADH offloads its electrons to the shuttle, it becomes an empty molecule called NAD+. The cell desperately needs a constant supply of this empty NAD+ to keep glycolysis going. If the shuttle system failed, the cell would quickly run out of empty carriers. Glycolysis would grind to a sudden halt, leading to severe energy depletion and ultimately cell death. The shuttle is a vital recycling mechanism. While all cells face this same barrier, they do not all solve it in the exact same way. These shuttles are not one size fits all. Different organs in the human body use different types of shuttles, depending on their specific metabolic needs. For instance, your brain and skeletal muscles often need energy immediately, so they prioritize speed over maximum efficiency. On the other hand, organs like your liver and heart sustain continuous long-term functions. They prioritize extracting every single drop of energy possible from the glucose molecule, even if the process takes a little bit longer. Understanding these different cellular needs brings us to the mathematics of energy production. We measure this energy in terms of ATP. The amount of ATP generated depends entirely on which shuttle system is used, represented by a simple biochemical equation. The total yield of ATP equals the number of cytosolic NADH molecules produced during glycolysis multiplied by the phosphate to oxygen ratio. This ratio represents the number of ATP molecules produced per pair of electrons transferred. If a cell uses a highly efficient shuttle, this ratio increases, leading to a higher total ATP yield. Conversely, a faster but less efficient shuttle decreases this ratio, resulting in less total ATP. Now that we have our formula, let us see how it applies to a rapidly contracting skeletal muscle. We are asked to calculate the total ATP generated from the two cytosolic NADH molecules produced during glycolysis. Skeletal muscles primarily utilize the glycerol-3-phosphate shuttle. This shuttle is incredibly fast but slightly inefficient, giving it a phosphate-to-oxygen ratio of only 1.5. We substitute the two NADH molecules and the ratio of 1.5 into our equation. Multiplying these gives us a final answer of 3 ATP molecules. The cell sacrifices a little efficiency to gain a massive advantage in reaction speed for explosive contractions. Let us contrast that fast muscle reaction with a highly efficient liver cell. We will calculate the ATP generated from the exact same two starting NADH molecules. Liver cells use the malate aspartate shuttle, which is slower but much more efficient. Because it uses the entire electron transport chain, its phosphate-to-oxygen ratio is higher at 2.5. We substitute the two NADH molecules and the new ratio of 2.5 into our formula. Multiplying these together gives a final yield of 5 ATP molecules. Physically, this means that by simply using a different shuttle, the liver cell extracts 2 additional ATP molecules from the exact same starting materials. To truly grasp why the muscle cell yields less ATP, let us look at the physical mechanism in this diagram. Here we see the glycerol-3-phosphate shuttle. Notice the vertical line representing the inner mitochondrial membrane. On the left, in the cytosol, NADH hands its electrons over to form glycerol-3-phosphate. The crucial part is on the right, at the membrane. The electrons are handed to FAD, forming FADH2. This means the electrons enter the electron transport chain at complex 2, completely bypassing complex 1. Because complex 1 is skipped, fewer protons are pumped across the membrane, which directly results in the lower ATP yield we just calculated. Now, let us compare that to the highly efficient system used by the liver, shown in this diagram of the malate aspartate shuttle. Again, we have the cytosol on the left and the matrix on the right. Here, the electrons from NADH are transferred to malate, which crosses the membrane. Once inside the matrix, look at what happens. The electrons are handed back to an empty NAD+ molecule, regenerating NADH inside the vault. Because it is NADH, these electrons enter the transport chain at the very beginning, at complex 1. This utilizes the entire chain, pumping a large number of protons and creating the stronger gradient needed for maximum ATP production. Seeing these two different pathways visually perfectly explains a classic biochemical mystery. You will often see textbooks state that the total ATP yield from one single molecule of glucose is either 30 or 32 ATP. This beautiful biological adaptation is the entire reason for that difference. The variation depends entirely on which shuttle the specific tissue employs. If the tissue uses the fast glycerol-3-phosphate shuttle, the total is 30. If it uses the efficient malate aspartate shuttle, the total is 32. The liver chooses maximum efficiency to ensure absolutely no energy is wasted during its continuous metabolic processing. As we wrap up our journey through the cell, let us review the most critical takeaways. First, mitochondrial shuttle systems are the cell's ingenious solution to a strict physical barrier. They do not transport the actual NADH molecule, but rather act as a bucket brigade, passing high-energy electrons across the membrane. Finally, by understanding these shuttles, you now know exactly why different organs produce slightly different amounts of energy from the exact same food. You have mastered the deeply elegant reasoning behind cellular energy economics.